Today, Conversations with Cheryl Weston welcomes Grant McGaugh, author, business strategist, keynote speaker, founder, and CEO of STAR BDM, who believes lead with a purpose, build with brave, and grow with strategy. Mr. McGaugh brings 30 years of experience in healthcare technology, business development, personal branding, leadership. And so after spending 30 years away from Omaha, he has returned home. He's returned home not just for the comfort, but for the purpose. And we're going to discuss that purpose with him today as he works to develop the Omaha AI Advantage Pilot Business Accelerator for underserved entrepreneurs. So, Mr. McGaugh, welcome to Conversations with Cheryl Weston.
Well, thank you for having me. We just had a brief conversation about family that we both know here in the Omaha area. I've been in Omaha I grew up, I was born here in 1963. My family's been here since the early 1900s on both sides, my mother and my father's side. So coming back home eventually was going to happen as you make your rounds through life.
Definitely. And that kind of lets me segue into this, is a question I have. Upon your return to Omaha after being away for 30 years, what did you immediately notice that it had changed?
Man, I noticed. I'm going to tell you, Omaha, kudos to Omaha, is really grown up in a certain way. I've been around a lot of different environments. Biggest thing that I noticed that kind of blew me away is when I went out west on Dodge Street, and I kept expecting it to end. It just never did. And all these beautiful locations, and I said, wow, this reminds me of Atlanta. You just didn't think you were in Omaha. And I thought that was just fantastic. And then when I come back down to 24th Street, now remember I grew up in the 60s, 70s, 80s, and 24th Street, North Omaha side, it just had a lot of burnt out buildings. It just never really recovered from the riots that happened. And I was just kind of used to that. But now I started to see all these new developments that are happening, where there was the Empowerment Network. I like that. The Revive. I saw that the museum, the Great Plains Black Museum had changed location. I saw the Omaha Star was under construction. I saw the North Omaha Visitor Center being taken place. I'm starting to see a renaissance, especially with the Omaha Inland Port Authority, that's just like, wow, this corridor is taking shape. And I'm hoping that the citizens of North Omaha really realize, like, this is a renaissance that's happening. And I am sure that this will look so different in the next 3 to 5 years, we won't even recognize it if you knew, at my time in the 80s and whatnot.
Getting on to with your company and your little tag, you said, is you lead with the purpose, build with brave, and grow with strategy. And you have what's on your website and what's on your card is the Brave Blueprint. What does brave mean?
Well, brave, just like a lot of people really understand, is about having the courage to move forward, right? So brave is an acronym, as I break that down into a framework that I developed over a lifetime in business development, personal branding, investment banking, that you've got to be brave. So brave breaks down into, first you've got to be bold in what you want to achieve. What do you want to accomplish, as if you're about to climb a large mountain? You want to take this on as a journey or an adventure. You got to first take on that bold stance that you're going to be able to accomplish this. What does that look like from a brand identity? Are you ready to go ahead and tackle that kind of endeavor? Then you've got to understand you're going to need resilience to get up that mountain, right? That's the R in the brave, right? Resilience. What are the relationships that you're going to need to get there? What are the resources that you're going to have to acquire to get to the top of that mountain? And then the A in brave, that's about being authentic, because you've got to be authentic in who you are and what you're able to accomplish. You've got to have the right assets that are available to you, and then what is the audience that you're looking to influence the most. So that's the A in the BRAVE framework. And then V is about visibility. How do you make that all visible, right? What are the values that you have? And do you have the right velocity to achieve this particular goal? And then the E, the mighty E, is the execution. Now you're bringing it all together in order to be brave. You've got to be able to execute. Do you have the right energy that you're going to need to accomplish this particular goal? And then can you get the metrics to go ahead and say, hey, do I need to change course in any way along those ways? You got to reiterate yourself. So that's about execution. So BRAVE is the acronym that you're going to utilize to take on any endeavor of value for yourself.
And I want to bring that into when you say that you are here to develop, in working with the City of Omaha, Omaha 100, and BizHack Academy to develop the Omaha AI Advantage Business Accelerator. What is that?
Well, the Business Accelerator, and this particular piece is going to be around marketing, utilizing this new platform. AI, artificial intelligence, is a platform. After 30 odd years in different modalities, especially the beginning of the internet, we begin to understand technology platforms. If you start looking at investment opportunities in the NASDAQ, you will see, or Fortune 500 companies, all of these companies now are technology, they have technology platforms, right? Starting with your Microsofts, right? Your Googles, then now you start seeing the Facebooks of the world. You have your eBay, you have your Ubers, and that type of, these are technology platforms, right? So with AI, it is that artificial intelligence is a major game changer when it comes to platform and understanding how you can first have, I just call it speed to market, because technology will help you do that. Communication modality comes down to how can I communicate, whether it's going to be through text, it's going to be through imagery, it's going to be through video. I can do that now. And that third piece is scale. These are tools that were first, I would say, in the hands of enterprise companies, Fortune 50 companies. Now it is in the hands of the everyday person. We need to adopt these platforms ourselves, make ourselves more visible in the market that we're looking to influence. So I brought the Omaha AI Marketing Accelerator that I had been doing in Miami-Dade County for 5+ years with BizHack Academy. And I saw, just like a lot of people, especially 5 years ago during COVID, I did not understand the digital marketing landscape. I understand different tools to a certain degree, but I hadn't worked on platforms. I needed to understand this, and I learned it through the BizHack Academy. And I excelled in it in the same methodologies that I used back then, I use now. And I was able to 10x growth as far as revenue and profits and that type of thing. And I want to bring that to the Omaha world, small business owners, because I know that they will be able to take advantage of these types of tool sets. It's not AI for AI's sake, it's how do you utilize it to then create revenue and profitability for your particular business. And that's what we're doing here in Omaha.
So, and I believe there's one that's coming up, the
Yes.
first. And can you kind of expand on that? When is this going to happen? Is it still available to register? Or can you give us a little bit more information on what you're going to plan for this pilot business accelerator?
Yeah, excellent question. We are now, and I've been working with the City of Omaha and the Economic Development Division under Bridget Hadley. When I first met her about a year ago, I said, hey, I want to bring something to Omaha that will be impactful. She was very, very influential in bringing me into engaging with a lot of the commerces here, whether they were the MAC group, whether it was the Empowerment Network, whether it's the Latino community, Hispanic community, Grow Nebraska, NEF, Nebraska Economic Fund, Omaha 100. And because I was able to engage with them and tell them my vision, like this is an opportunity, we're not behind this curve when it comes to technology adoption, but we will be if we do not get involved with artificial intelligence. This is the greatest game changer probably within my lifetime that we will see. It will radically change business as we know it today as far as workforce, and what that's going to look like. Because you will use AI, you will use AI agents, and you will have agentic AI for business process automation, even in the background. So if we don't start to adopt these things, it'd be very, very, it could bring us make us behind in where we need to go, right? So she was able to do that for me. And then I get involved with Omaha 100. They stepped to the podium and said, hey, how we did it in Miami-Dade is that we offered scholarships, right? So you didn't have to come out of pocket for everything that you needed to do. And it made it easier so that the barrier to entry would be lower, right? So they offered a $25,000 proof of concept for Omaha. And that is what we are initiating now. As we're filming this right now, the cutoff is going to be Friday as far as this first cohort. But don't be surprised, it's going to go ongoing for the next couple of years. But this first cohort, as far as businesses that we will enroll and have available, we're going to have about 10 businesses with about 20, 25 people in this first cohort that we're going to go ahead and run through an 8-week process in which you're going to adopt AI-powered marketing techniques and skill sets, right? So you're going to walk in and walk out with a skill set that you didn't have before. That's very, very important. So that's going to start on September 10th. We'll have orientation right here at the Enterprise Center. I'm in the Brando room is where we're going to start this particular cohort. And then we will on September 15th, it'll begin. It'll go all the way to November 5th. It'll be every Tuesday and Thursday from noon to 2. You'll have theory the first day, which is on Tuesday, and then we have practical applications on Thursday. And you'll have guest speakers come in and we'll talk to a lot of different people. The main thing is that you have networking available. It will be hybrid as well. So if you can't come out here to the Enterprise Center, you will be able to tune in through the internet for a hybrid event. So hopefully I've answered that question. So if you don't get
is
on
the
this,
registration closed?
it will not close until tomorrow.
How can I register?
You can register. You go to 5, that's the number 5, STAR BDM. That's B for brand, D for developmentinformasters.com. As you scroll down, you're going to see the applet that says Business Accelerator. Just click on the Business Accelerator and landing page will come up for you. It says apply now. Just click on the apply now, fill out the information, and then that begins the process. As I stated, if you don't get in this first cohort, you will be available for the next one. So don't think that you will never get an opportunity, right, to do this. If you wish to pay out of pocket, you can do that. The cost per seat per business is $2,500. So for $2,500, you get 2 people that can then go ahead and take the course over that 8 weeks, right? So that's $2,500 for one business for 2 people, and that's for 8 weeks. And I guarantee you're going to walk out with a skill set. We did it so well during that 5-year period in Miami-Dade County. We were asked to come out to the U.S. Congress for the SBA Committee, Small Business Administration, and do a deposition about how we were so successful in Miami-Dade County, which we trained about 7,000 businesses during that time period. So I'm bringing that same methodology, same people to Omaha, Nebraska through BizHack Academy to train our Omaha small business owners to create a center of excellence utilizing AI methodologies here in Nebraska.
So when you say that you're working with the City of Omaha 100 and all this, and this pilot accelerator, one of the things that I noticed that always, this comes out, particularly when it's North Omaha, for underserved entrepreneurs. Mm-hmm. But now you're asking this entrepreneur $2,500. Mm-hmm. I don't see it.
I think so the $2,500 if you don't get the scholarship.
So there are still scholarships available for you as an entrepreneur to be able to register so that you will get 2 people in.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now let me clarify that. Mm-hmm. Right now we have one sponsor for Omaha 100. The goal is to consistently have enough sponsors to get every entrepreneur to get this type of training.
Okay.
So now we have 1. I'd like to have 3 or 4. So now we don't want to have a barrier for entrance to be in
exactly.
Right?
That's where I'm heading. I was heading with this is it's a barrier, and it kind of leads into another part of my question is artificial intelligence. And you've just said it in when we began this conversation. It's being promoted as this tool that can level the playing field. Mm-hmm. Can it also widen existing racial and economic differences, disparities?
Absolutely, because if right now we're at the infancy of artificial intelligence, so it lives on data and information. So a lot of the data and information that's been in existence is already biased, right? So if the either the organization or the company doesn't clean that data integrity, you'll still have certain biases that can be amplified if not corrected. So very, very important. But at the same time, we've got to be involved with these things. If your voice is not on the table, it gets lost. So if you have an entire continent of people, so like the continent of Africa that's not in the database, that's a big loss. You're the continent of South America, Central America, all these different things, because they're taking lived experiences and then digitizing them. So if we're not available in the algorithm and it doesn't see us, then our voice is lost. This is very, very important. So as we become more adept in understanding this, right now a lot of people on social media, they're putting a lot of information and data out there. Become more conscious of what you're putting out there, because this is what the AI is actually feeding on, right? So if we can have clean data, more intentional data, knowing how to utilize.
So what do you mean by intentional data? What is intentional data?
Let me give you an example. I do a lot in personal branding, right? And where I am discoverable because I put intentional information out there about Grant McGaugh. I understand that Google is my friend, but I understand that Google is going to get its information from sources like my website, sources like my LinkedIn, right? Sources like a news channel, whatnot, that I'm going to put out there. So now it's amplifying the story that I have given it, right? So if it doesn't have the story about me, it's not going to make something up about me because that is factual information. That's intentionality. So if you don't do that, and then it starts to speculate, hallucinate, or whatever it may be, or drawing from information from sources that don't know a lot about you, then you get skewed data. Skewed data is what you're really talking about. So we want to be more intentional about the data that it has, the information that it has, so it has better context.
So when they go through this course, will they learn that you need to use this intentional data, the algorithms? Will they get an understanding? Because I think a lot of people do not understand what's happening with that.
Yeah, that's very important. And before we become visible, remember in the BRAVE framework, visibility is what we're really talking about, that last end. Hey, how am I visible in this digital world, right? But that's the V. You've got to do the work before that. What is your brand identity? What do you really need to amplify? What is that? Do you know the essence of yourself? Have you created a personalized story, a business story that really resonates with who you are at your core? We have to do that work first, right? And then understanding the research that takes place in market. A lot of times, small business did not have access to business intelligence like a Fortune 50 or Fortune 500 company does. You do now. If you can be taught how to utilize the AI platforms to get you the information and data that you did not have before, so now you can, the market that you have is expanded. You're not just doing business in Omaha, you're doing business in the Midwest, or you're doing business nationally, or you're doing business internationally. You're not limited by a geographical location, right? But that's research. So you have to understand it. And then that A is the assets that you need to acquire. We get into intellectual property. You start to take things and create your own intellectual property to become an asset, just like a copyright or a trademark. Start to do these things utilizing these AI platforms, then make it visible, and then execute on these things. That's how the BRAVE framework works.
So while we're talking about that BRAVE framework, I'm going to go back to a couple of questions I had regarding that. Of your principles, under the BRAVE principles, what do leaders or entrepreneurs struggle with the most out of that BRAVE?
The biggest thing, well, there's a couple of things, and it's also on the opposite sides of the BRAVE framework. Number one, they have not developed their personal story at a point where that it's premium and that it's professional. And so it doesn't resonate with the target market that they're looking to influence. The other thing on the other side is execution. They have a great idea, they've done some of the work, but they limited it when it comes to execution. I can give you a strategy, I can give you a plan. If you follow that plan, you have a 90 percentile chance of probability of actually getting to the goal. But if you don't execute it, it doesn't work. So execution is one of the biggest stumbling blocks for small business.
And that really helps to understand what I think a lot of the problem is, because what you can do through your Brave Blueprint, and I'm saying with your company, with your strategies, what you do is to help people to understand that you got to have a target in mind. You know, a lot of people go on, we're just doing podcasts and we're doing this, and you're wondering why, or you do things to try to get a hit or subscribe, but those aren't beneficial to you. So what you're saying through your company, these are things that you teach and you help to learn, because you mentioned that execution is. And I can remember in my prior career is I'd always ask my clients, why did you get into this? How did you get this started? And I know, and maybe you can expound on this one, I'd say probably 85 to 90% said they were forced to do the execution. Isn't the execution the biggest thing to try to do? Is you have all this going on, but then you don't execute it in a way that's beneficial. So you would help through your company teach and help that entrepreneur get to that point.
100%. And going back to what you said even earlier, what is your passion? What is the North Star that you have as the goal? Because if you don't understand the goal, and it's a true passion. One thing one of my mentors told me, it was so powerful, when it comes to, you've got to have, what is your point of view when it comes to your personal story? What I mean by that is, what makes you cry and what pisses you off? And what is it that, what you're trying to accomplish, or in whatever, it's a situation, it's an issue, it's a circumstance, does it piss you off? And does it make you angry to a point that you want to take action?
And that's what,
right. And that's going to ground you as you come across the next level, which is resilience. Because you're going to run across all kinds of different barriers and whatnot that's going to take place. But if you have enough of your passion, your why is so strong, you will then overcome that particular mountain that's in front of you. And they get to the next. Now you're being authentic in your journey, right? And now you're going to make that visible. You're strong, you're powerful, right? And now you can execute. Most people can't execute, they don't have enough in the tank. They don't understand that this is strong within me. I have a feeling about this. I have a calling about this, because if you don't have the feeling and the calling, when you start going against the resistance, you're going to fade. So you have to understand those things and get your fuel from your point of view, your personal story. Then we can get the platform and then the position of that particular journey. Yeah.
Programs serving entrepreneurs, underserved entrepreneurs. Oh, they're always, put out with all this great enthusiasm. And then it's kind of like, that's it. They get there. But the participants who get into these programs that are put out here, will they receive anything, any training? Will they receive any assistance from the organizations, the city, that will help them to gain capital, contracts, customers, decision making, those types of things? Because we're always, and I include myself in the underserved community, is, oh, this is going to be great and things, but what's the outcome?
Well, we thought this through. The whole point, when I went back to my very first meetings with BizHack Academy, how do we insert this into the ecosystem? So like you were saying, so now you've been trained. Let's say you go through the 8-week and so what happens next? Well, Omaha 100, we don't just have any sponsor. Now you're fundable. We're looking for people that can be fundable, whether it's from a home loan or a business loan, to get them to the next level. Now you understand what it takes, right? So you don't get denied the loan that you need to move forward, that you can articulate your vision at scale, and it makes sense, and you become a prime candidate for a Omaha 100, or it could be another bank or another institution. So we're creating pipeline. So then when you want to work like with Omaha Inland Port Authority, you say, hey, they're building this out. They're hiring. You've got all these different businesses there. All right, how can you participate? How do we bring them in? So we want to bring in the entire ecosystem and community to begin working together. So it's not just one and done. I can speak for myself, even 5 years ago, the things that I learned and I was able then to take to the next level, working with many different organizations, was astronomical. So the person, again, that goes back to the individual and the individual business, what do you want to accomplish? Is this the road that you want to go on? And if it is so, then we will make sure that you have the right resources available to get you to that North Star.
One of the things, and I just kind of said that, these always get announced, and here's where I think the underserved don't get it. It always seems to be like the same people, the same group. What is going to be different about Omaha's AI Advantage Business Accelerator? Who's going to be accountable? Is it going to be sustainable? What's going to make it really be different than all of these others that have come forth and have left the underserved in the same spot practically that they were before?
Number one is that my network that I bring to the table is international. So you're not just working within the same group of individuals, let's say in the Omaha, and I can't speak to prior experiences, but I will be able to understand what the business model is because of my relationships in South Florida and Miami for 30 years, my relationships in St. Croix, U.S. Virgin Islands, and that is not just one small island. That is an ecosystem that connects an entrepreneur in Omaha to a network throughout the entire Caribbean and also in Ghana and in Taiwan. So you're not limited by the resources or the relationships you may have had just working in the Omaha world. Let's start looking at this more holistically. That's what an AI platform will do for you. So you're not limited geographically or physically. You can now operate on a worldwide scale, and let's make sure that you're able to articulate your message and communicate your values at that level. So it is about sustainability, right? So first we've got to get it started, but then the sustainability will then take us through these next levels. So I work through personal branding to work for the individual. Then it's business development. That's really what we're working on here, business development. Then you get into investment banking. Investment banking, a lot of people don't understand what that's all about. But that's capital raise, that's M&A, mergers, acquisitions. You start getting into exit strategies. It opens up a whole new world. In St. Croix, Virgin Islands, they're opening up Third Wall Street. So now you have the financial systems that you did not have working individually, let's say in Omaha, Nebraska. Now you've got opportunities worldwide from a banking system that looks like you.
Before I close, got two more questions. How was this program? Well, let me give my other question first. When you talk about underserved entrepreneurs, who specifically are you talking about? And how do you ensure that those people, which are usually excluded, are really actually reached? Because how many people how did the word get out about this program? Because a lot of small businesses, and that was one of the reasons why I really wanted to get this done. I was hoping to do it before today, but it didn't work out. But the thing is, this will be out today, is that there's so many out there had no idea that you were doing this. No idea. So I go back, how did this get out? And then when you talk about these underserved entrepreneurs, who are they? Who specifically are you trying to address?
Great question. I first had to get foundational and create the ecosystem in which I would be a part of so I could be well known. So they know who I am and I know who they are, whether it's the city, it's a Omaha 100, it is an empowerment network. Like, who are you? Why are you here? I know you lived here, years ago, but what brings you here today? I had to establish that. So know, like, and trust does not go away. I had to get that set in stone, let them know about the idea of what I am doing, and get their buy-in. They had great buy-in about this. They understand the need. Now we have to
I get it.
create the
But so how
platform.
are you getting this out? How come people don't know about it?
So you have to start from the foundation and then spring forward. We're doing it now. Remember, this is not one and done. No one, you don't feel like, oh, I just learned about it. Now I'm not available. No, this is going to go on for years. This is the first cohort. This is the proof of concept cohort. This is the first 10 businesses. And now we are getting, so you become visible. And those first 10, they'll become our testimonies about what this is all about. So we're looking at this from the long game, not the short game. And we are getting the word out, whether it's from, I just got interviewed by KMTV on Channel 3 just recently, right? I've been on Bill King's World on 94.7, The Boss. I'm now with you, Miss Cheryl Weston. So we're getting that word out because we want the availability. But I don't want people to feel like, oh, now I know about it, but I can't participate. No, because it's going to be ongoing. Right, but prepare yourself. We've got the landing page, we've got a syllabus there, you get the better understanding what this is about, so you come prepared. What we're looking for, number one, is that we need people that are passionate about what they want to do and how they're gonna get there. I know I can get them to that North Star, but they gotta want to do it. They're gonna take the time, the investment, and say, hey, I don't have $2,500. I'm not asking you for that. I'm asking you for your time. Because it takes time to develop a skill set. You're not just going through a course and a theory. You're going to take your actual business that you're working on and creating revenue opportunities that create profits for you. And that takes time to develop. And I want you to acquire that skill so you'll turn around and be able to give it to someone else as the time is needed. So we are getting the word out. We're doing it as best we can. I'm one person, as you see right here, but I'm doing more.
Been there,
and
done
more.
that, one person thing.
But I've got you, I've got Cheryl, I've got others, and you're going to see that we're going to do more and more advertising around this with the Omaha AI Marketing Accelerator. We didn't say our great tagline that we're out here now. They resonated really big. Breakthrough 402. That's what this is about.
Okay, Breakthrough 402.
So we're going to break through all those barriers that have been in the past and create a new future.
So one more time, can you tell people, you still have until tomorrow, 14th, to sign up, register. There are still available scholarships. So some of you who are small businesses, hey, get on here, give us that. How do we get onto the landing page?
Yeah.
One more time, please.
5-STAR BDM. That's number 5. That's STAR, STAR, B for brand, D for development, and for masters.com. You will scroll, you'll see the Business Accelerator, or you can ask my AI agent, as you see right here, called Sentinel, right? And it'll guide you to that site. Just go ahead and click on it, fill out the information. Even if you don't get in the first cohort, now you're in the pipeline, and you will be called for the second cohort, and then the third cohort, and it'll be bigger. Right now, we're limited it to 10 businesses, but we're gonna expand this out. We'd like to have at least 60 people or 30 businesses per cohort. And that's my call to action, or my siren call, is to get more of our sponsors involved. We're talking about our community private sector, so your bigger businesses. This is how we're going to upskill the workforce, and we're going to upskill our business owners that are subcontractors and that type of thing. So this is very, very important to do. $2,500 for an 8-week course is not a lot of money when it really comes down to it. It's a lot for an individual, not a lot for a larger business. So we need your help.
So if somebody wanted to get in touch with Grant McGaugh, how would they do that?
First, we already went to the website. Now you got to send me an email at grant.mcgaugh, that's MCGAUGH at 5starbdm.com, and then go ahead and send me a message. Love to talk to you. We've already got about 50 applications that have come in over in the last 2 days. We've got, and this I love this because it shows me enthusiasm. And people, they understand the need and they want access to it. So we're not going to limit access. Remember, this first one is just a pilot. This is our POC. But this for Omaha, we've done this for 5+ years in Miami-Dade County, but we're bringing it here, and then we're going to grow this. So we're doing about 30 to 40 businesses every about 3 months or so. So don't think that you're going to miss out, but make sure you get your name in the hat.
Last question to end this, and before that, I'd like to say first, thank you very much for giving us this time to be able to have an understanding of what this is all about and to reach out to our community. My last thing, and I'll end, is with all your titles, the rankings, your accomplishments, when they are removed, what do you hope people will say change because you were here?
Ultimately, I would like to see our children, the generations that come after me, have a much greater opportunity than I had even, and I think I had great opportunities when I left Omaha, and I utilized that, right? And I want to make sure that the children that are behind us about to start school right now have an opportunity, have a vision for what they want to accomplish right now.
Great. Well, again, thank you so very much.